Hello, everybody. Welcome along to another webinar. Today, going to be speaking about how to recruit nurses on a budget. 3 low-cost strategies. Now, the focus of this webinar is really on one central idea, and that is to do what works, but be original. And by this, I mean there's so much pressure nowadays to try something new, find the next big thing. Did you ever get told as a child you can be anything you want to be? Well, if you're working in a small home health agency with 2 recruiters, you can't. You can't use the big new programmatic platform that wants you to sign up for a year and spend $10,000 a month. You can't create a new AI tool in house. You can't get your hands on the budget or the support to do it. So in healthcare recruitment, it's tough to do what you want and be what you can be, especially if you're in a smaller organization. And even if you're in a bigger one, layers of bureaucracy can get in the way. Your manager might be stuck in the past. And if there's no nurses in your area, well, there's no nurses in your area. There's not much you can do. I hope you'll forgive me for being pessimistic, but I think we can take inspiration and encouragement from this because there's a limitation to what works. It's predefined and we can go after it without spending a lot of money. So actually, if you have fewer options, you have more focus, you can get better at a smaller group of things, then you can be more satisfied with the effort you're getting in and the results that you're getting out. So do what works, but be original in how you do it. For example, number one, use data to optimize what you have. I think it's well known, the saying that data is the new oil. You look at the rise of AI platforms like ChatGPT or Google's Bard, they're created using millions upon millions of data points, which those platforms have scraped from websites. For example, blog posts, if you asked it to write a 500-word article on retaining LPNs, within its data set, it has already read similar articles, and that's how it's able to regurgitate and repeat what has already been put out there. So, in some sense, it's not original because it's repeating what it knows. And you can do this too in terms of using data to your advantage, and not a lot of organizations have implemented it. Here's a few use cases. Looking at the number of nurses in your HR system that are above the age of 57, surveying the departments and noticing that 20% of our ICU are going to be retiring in 5 to 6 years, but only 5% of our ER will be. How can we use this information to better recruit for the ICU? Well, perhaps needs a bit more funding than the ER. And you can forecast that recruitment will need to be driven harder and faster in the ICU than other departments because there's going to be a churn caused by retirement upcoming in a few years. When it comes to your spend as well on job boards, you really want to be particular on where it's going. You don't want to be spending $500 of your 1,000 budget on new grad nurses if that's the easiest role for you to recruit for. That budget needs to be focused on the channel where it gets the best results and then on the positions that are most in need. So, how do you do this? Well, a lot of platforms today provide analytical tools. You can go into your ATS and view your openings, view your spend. Really, it comes down to the requirement and the resources at your disposal. And you want to align resources into the areas which have the greatest requirement. That's across the board. So that's spend on job advertising, spend on marketing, and then spend on recruiters. Look at how much money is going into the recruitment team, all in salaries, pensions, paid time off, calculate it all, and then look at how those team members are spending their time and understand how much you're spending on sourcing, not just on the spend, but on the working hours, not just on the ad spend, but on the working hours as well. And you can do this without spending any extra money, just your own time, by actually using the analytics at your disposal within Indeed or any other job board within your ATS. And if you're working on spreadsheets, well, spreadsheets are great for organizing data. Number two, maximize efficiency in your organization structure and team. So, a couple of weeks ago, we interviewed Jen and Cynthia from McLaren Healthcare. And in the past year, they did something very interesting. McLaren reorganized a recruitment team that was focusing on particular areas. So they had, say, I think they have 12, 13 hospitals. Each hospital has its recruiter, its recruitment manager, or HR manager. They reorganized that into a corporate structure for nursing, particularly. So they have a nursing recruitment team that sole purpose is to find candidates for hospitals across the system. This has benefited them by saving money, putting their resources in one pot instead of streaming them out gives economies of scale when it comes to negotiating job board spend or contracts with outside agencies, giving them unity of voice. So whenever they do their career site, their job ads, their marketing, it's coming from the same core group of people that are in the same building or in the same Microsoft Teams group. So they can align it to the organization's missions and values very easily without many different ideas and alternate messaging coming through. Also helps with executing on strategy. A smaller team can all contribute and then have a focused plan. The results going to be superior because focus, laser focus, is what gets things done. And I know, having spoke to Kim, who's the VP over there in HR, they're doing very well out of it. So think about, how is your organization doing nurse recruitment? And are those who are working on it focused on the task? Are you pulling people in from HR across different facilities, or do you have dedicated recruiters that a large part of their workload is finding and hiring nurses? Can also look at it on an individual level. Make sure you're tracking the important KPIs for a nurse recruiter or for a manager of a nurse recruitment team, and implement improvements into the value and into the culture of your organization, the working environment. On our healthcare recruitment leaders exchange, we spoke about collaborating in non-productive time, like giving others kudos, sharing what's on your desk, having that time set apart every week or every month to relax and let people get to know one another. Helps boost productivity in ways that might seem almost the opposite of the time you're putting in. You spend 30 minutes not working, how are we getting work done? Well, if that 30 minutes gives people a chance to breathe, become more connected to the mission and each other, then in their 40-hour work week, if they can perform 5% better, then it's essentially 42 hours worth of work. Your 30 minutes has been worth it. So think about how can you maximize the structure and then also motivate people, get them clued into the values, the mission, and actually contributing to the performance. Finally, this plays into it. Get clear on what that identity, values, and culture is. So that will benefit your recruitment team, but also your nurse recruitment and retention. So whenever a candidate searches for a position and they see your name on job board or Google, you want them to feel something. And you don't want them to have formed an opinion based on rumors and chit chat and negative information available on Glassdoor, Google Maps, because people are inclined to give a review when they are more frustrated and give negative reviews instead of positive reviews. So it's so crucial that whenever you create a job ad, it's touch point one, they'd see you on a job board. And then whenever people land onto your career site, which is touch point two, that it's very evident and obvious that you know what nurses want and you're aligning your identity and values to that. So, a couple of good examples I've seen, Overlake Medical Center or University of New Mexico Health. If you go on their career site, you'll be able to see very clear content that describes the nurses that this is who we are, this is the family that you'll be joining, this is the mission that you're going to be taking part in, and here's why we think you should join, and listing the benefits, the pay, and compelling reasons. It's not enough anymore just to have a job board as a careers page. You really need to sell what your identity, values, and culture is to candidates, because I've seen a few surveys recently, and we are running one. Often it's in the top two that nurses will apply based on referrals or word of mouth to an employer. And you need to be making some effort to control what people are saying about you. And if it's unclear, if it's dissipated, then people will be making it clear and forming their own judgments. Some will be good, but some will be bad. You have the opportunity to control the narrative by making very clear on your site, in your marketing, and what you do in the world, like in person events, running, family days, that you have an identity, values, and culture that people want to subscribe to, and one that's very clear and strong. So, why not? These three methods of recruiting nurses are low cost. It'll take time. Nothing's free in this world. It's going to take time, but you don't have to spend a lot of money on them. They work, been proven to work, and just be original whenever you are are doing them. So you don't have to find that new platform. There's no golden egg laid by the golden goose that's going to have 100 nurses jump out and join your organization. Follow what works, do it in a smart way, use the data that you have, optimize what you're doing, maximize your efficiency and structure of your team, and then get clear on your identity, values, and culture, and make it clear in your recruitment job ads, marketing campaigns, and on your career site. So I hope you find these useful, and I hope that you put them into practice, because the world needs better nurse recruitment, and you have the power to do it. So, how to recruit nurses on a budget? Well, do what works, but be original. So, thank you for watching, listening, And if you want to hear more, subscribe to our podcast, Nurse Recruitment Secrets, or check out our website, nurserecruitmentexperts.com. Thank you very much and have a great day.